Stay happy, stay healthy, keep it real.
Hello and welcome to the show. My name is Gurds and I'm joined by the lovely Jess from Gathering of Minds.
Hello, Gurds. How are you? I'm looking forward to this.
It's a pleasure having you.
It's a pleasure to work with you, Gurds. You know, I think it's absolutely amazing what you girls have created with the show, and I'm looking forward to being a part of it for a short while.
Oh, bless you. That's so sweet. So, just to let you guys know, this week we're discussing a topic that's really talked down about within the news, and that's self-healing. Many people these days suffer from depression, anxiety, tiredness and a lack of compassion for themselves. What's your view on that, Jess?
You know, I think it's really important to not do all of those things and to have compassion and to just really get ourselves to a level where we are in control of our emotions and not the other way around, where our emotions are controlling us, because a lot of the times that can happen and things can spiral out of control. So it's really good to actually, that people are starting to realise, to work on their energetic selves as well as the physical and the mental.
Interesting. Before we introduce our guest for today, what have you been up to this week, Jess?
Well, lots of different things actually. I'm planning the retreat in July, our first Gathering of Minds retreat. I've been busy, and obviously you are going to be coming down to air that, which is brilliant. I've been working on just loads of different media, different things that we've got coming up, and we're also going to be at Rawfest, so I'm just busy trying to get everyone together for that. That's going to be the 17th to 21st of July. If anyone's want to get down, have a look at that. They have lots of different speakers on. We're going to be in the consciousness area, so I've been organising that, and it's just been a hectic week. What can I say? I've got two events coming up as well. I've got the 31st of May, the next Gathering of Minds, and then the following one is the 28th of June, obviously all in London.
Okay, and whereabouts is that being hosted?
It's going to be at Resource for London. If anyone wants to check out any of the things that we're doing, we've also got a lot of recipes on the website. We've got a lot of articles that can help people. For example, we had a girl who was cured. Actually, she might be a good guest. She's cured herself of polycystic ovaries and endometriosis through diet. Now, we've just put the article of her story on the Gathering of Minds website. But if we could get her on, actually.
Yeah, definitely. I think
because this is a problem that a lot of women have, I think.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So if anyone wants to check that out, it's ourgom.com, ourgom.com.
Cool. Okay, so who do we have on the show today?
Well, we have Sonya Sophia, who we both saw for the first time at Gathering of Minds when she was on in October. She has this amazing technique which can literally, get rid of your problems, I guess is a way to explain it, but on an energetic scale. So it's like this tapping, and it releases sort of blockages that you have.
I do remember thinking, why are we tapping? What is this going to benefit me? How is this going to help me to self-heal myself? But people don't realise the power of just tapping can clear a lot of issues that you didn't even realise that you had, that was stuck in your mind from like years of not deserving to love yourself. So,
and then obviously these things can manifest into disease and illnesses.
And potentially even mental illness.
Exactly, yeah, you just don't know.
When we think about it, it's one of the biggest issues within the UK at the moment. A lot of young people have got mental illnesses, even the elderly. And I guess it kind of stems from not self-loving ourselves.
Exactly, yeah, that's it. That's it. There's a lot to be said for, paying some time into, I guess, just thinking positively and just thinking positively about yourself and just really like not beating yourself up, I think, because people are so hard on themselves. Good, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I had a meeting with one of my business partners on Thursday, and he was telling me about one of his colleagues who's been an accountant for 18 years. And my business partner was telling him about his life and how he's changing himself, and he turned around to him and said, people like me don't deserve to be at the top.
But
and
this is...
He asked him why, and he goes, because there's only a small percentage of people who can be successful, and I'm not one of those. I will always be stuck in this rut. And it really broke my heart just hearing that story, that this guy doesn't believe in himself. And I guess, again, it's probably that he doesn't know how to self-love himself. So he's fed himself these negative energies, and that's what he kind of reciprocates on a daily basis. So whatever you feed yourself is what you're going to become.
It's so true, yeah, exactly, that's it. I am are the two most powerful words you can say, and whatever you follow those two words up with, then this is what's going to come into your life, because the vibration of them two words, do you know what I mean? And if you're saying I am an idiot and you're saying that to yourself over and over again, what you're doing is you're you're basically stacking that up, so you start actually believing it. It might seem...
You create your own destruction.
That's it.
Yeah.
But, people have to overcome their own issues when they're ready, and every soul's on their own journey. And whilst you see these people, like beating themselves up, and you can see like where they may be going wrong or whatever, like at the end of the day, like when that person's ready to come to that conclusion about whatever it is they've learned by being that way, they'll do it.
Yeah. And I think there's one thing for the listeners that you guys should always try every morning when you're in the shower. Just say to yourself, I am, and then say whatever it is. So if it's beautiful, say, I am beautiful. I deserve to be loved. I am going to be at this. So if, for example, you want to be a writer in the future, say, I am a writer.
Yes.
I am going to be this. The moment you say these things, those things happen. And this is from my own experience. When I was 19 years old, I wanted to be a journalist. And I used to say, I can't believe I'm telling you now, but I used to say to myself every morning in the shower, I will be a journalist.
Yes.
And that's what happened.
Yeah, exactly. That's the key words. I will. Be careful of saying want, because what want is when you say I want, what you're asking the universe for is more wanting. So it's good to say things like I will, I have, I desire, and things like that. But also, and this is the thing, the book like The Secret and stuff don't go into this, but it's very important with manifesting, and that you need to believe it, and you need to have the emotions behind it. Otherwise you have what's called the thought behind the thought, which is your true thought, which is your emotions, and that is what you're really going to get. So if you're thinking, right, I really want to be a journalist, I will be a journalist, but you're not feeling it in your heart, it won't manifest, because you're sending mixed, confusing messages out to the universe, and you'll get back mixed, confusing things in your life.
You need to have that tingling sensation feeling. If you feel that, then you know you're heading in the right direction. But also, obviously, we should ask for things for ourselves, but also say to the universe, ask for everybody to have a good day. So say, please, can I have a good day? But can you give everybody else have a good day? Because your positivity will reflect on everybody you'll meet, whether you meet a postman down the street, the person on the tube. You might affect them in a way that you never thought. By having that positive image, that positive look, you might actually make them smile.
Exactly. This is it. It's really powerful. I think, it's lovely just to make someone smile, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like, why can't you smile at a stranger on the street? For fear of like, oh, they might think that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, start smiling at people.
Yeah, life is too short. But without further ado, I'd like to introduce Sonya. Thank you for allowing us to interview you.
It's a total pleasure.
So yes, I mean, the last time I saw you was, it was October at Gathering of Minds. What have you been up to since then?
Well, let's see. I have been working constantly on this big, huge global project called the World Tapping Circle, and we've just launched in the last couple of days, and it starts next week. We're doing a free month of healing.
Wow.
And that's for anyone to come try out tapping and to feel supported in their lives, basically. Amazing. And see what they can do with their own energy and their own intelligent, conscious focus.
Okay, so just in case there's somebody listening that doesn't know what tapping or EFT is, do you want to just give us a bit of background on it? I mean, what is it? What can it do for you and things like that?
Tapping started out as EFT, which stands for Emotional Freedom Technique. It was originated by a man named Gary Craig, who took a bunch of information from thought field therapy and Chinese medicine and streamlined it and basically simplified healing so that it wasn't such a long and complicated process. He wasn't a healer, he was an engineer, which actually was a huge benefit because he really wanted to make something highly functional. And then he gave it to the world. And I learned from him about 10 years ago, and it's been being updated and upgraded. And basically it's a meridian-based self-healing technology where you use your fingers to gently tap on acupressure points or acupuncture points, the same places that someone would put a needle if they were giving you an acupuncture session, to stimulate the electrical current that flows through these teeny little meridians, which is sort of like the energetic ethernet of your body.
Now these meridian lines are the same lines that Reiki works on and all this healing, so it's tapping into the same kind of things. So what kind of issues can people overcome with this?
people work on everything and anything under the sun, because everything that is bothering you has some sort of emotional root and emotional content to it. So you can work from something like stress about work, or issues in a relationship, worry about money, bad memories from the past, things that you wished had never happened. People work on divorces, on phobias, neuroses, even just personality habits, sort of like always losing your keys or always being late, something like that. It's amazing what you can do if you just focus a little bit of love and attention into these file folders of your brain, really. And what it does is, as you tap on these points and you start to bring acceptance to your situation, the place in your neural network in your brain will actually start to release the code that tells you how to behave subconsciously.
I mean, this is really powerful. And to be honest, I didn't really know what this was until I saw your talk. But what I did see was, I mean, Sonya did an exercise, right? I've just explained it to Gurds because, you were there, you were at Catherine Mind. Okay, so basically, you did this exercise, didn't you? And it was like tapping, a series of taps, different areas on the face and neck, and a sequence of times in body, Now, before you started that, you said that we had to think of something that, that we didn't like, or we wanted to change, something that we were scared of, for example. And people were asked to think of a number before they did this. And what really surprised me was that when you asked them after they'd done the tapping, the number had literally more than halved. I mean, it was really powerful to see that kind of change being done in such a short. I mean, that was just like a 10-minute exercise. It was powerful.
Right, yeah. I ask people to rate the emotional intensity of their issue. Say stress about your job, and maybe you find that to be like an 8 or a 9. It really bothers you. And then after you tap on these points and you acknowledge things, like as you're tapping, you're saying, gosh, even though I'm really stressed, and then you breathe and you offer yourself love and acceptance. You say, I accept that I'm really stressed. I still love and accept myself even though I'm stressed. And as you go through this, what happens is that stress in your mind, which actually affects your digestion, affects your sleep, affects your body, begins to meet empathy. And that's what we're really looking for when we repeat these sort of boring stories to our friends, like, oh, did I tell you this? And I'm so stressed, I'm so worried. We're looking for their empathy. We want them to say, wow, that was a tough thing, and oh, good for you, you did well. And, we want that kind of acknowledgement and empathy from our friends, and when we don't get it, we get upset with them, don't we? But when you give it to yourself, which is the person who actually needs it and knows your story and feels the most sorry for you.
Exactly, that's it.
Very true.
The empathy goes right where you need it, and you find that you relax deeply, and then suddenly you don't feel as irritated when you're confronted with that same stimulus.
So, Sonya, can I just ask you, for any of our listeners who don't know your background, can you explain what happened to you and how you kind of got introduced to tapping?
Well, yes, I was raised in a very fundamental Christian family. I was taught to feel like I needed to be perfect for God to love me. I had a perfectionistic mother, which on lots of levels was a good thing, but it was also very stressful. I went through, sexual abuses, unplanned pregnancy, abandonment, physical abuse. My stepfather used to beat me. I ended up being abandoned and unwed at 21 with a baby. And all of that made me very depressed. I was chronically depressed. I had physical pain in my body constantly, in my back and neck, and bladder infections, kidney infections. I was neurotic. I chewed off all my fingernails, scratched at my skin. I was really wound tightly, and I started going into therapy, but I found that helped me understand my issues, but it didn't actually resolve them. It just made me feel bad for being kind of crazy and sad. And I tried lots of therapies, and eventually on my path I found this one. And even though I was dancing and doing yoga and meditation and exercising, which helped temporarily when I was doing those things and definitely made me feel stronger, it didn't resolve the deep core issues. And when I found tapping, I noticed that the things that made me feel like an immature little girl, even though I was still 35 years old, they went away, and it changed my life completely.
I mean, this is how powerful this stuff is. You know, people often think I have to work on my body, I have to work on my mind, but they forget about the fact that we are made up of energy, right? And it's sometimes our energy can go a bit skew-whiff, do you know what I mean? So you've got to try and keep that all taken over nicely, I guess.
Yeah, I liken it to a house with a switch box, a fuse box. And what happens is that when you feel shock or fear or trauma, or you even imagine something is going to happen, it didn't really happen. They say you slam on your brakes, you almost hit a dog that's running across the street. Even though you missed the dog, as you go down the street for 2 or 3 more miles, you're still imagining that you hit the dog. You're still reacting as if you had that adrenaline of that you've had an accident, you could have been in an accident. Your body still processes that shock as if it really happened. And so many of us, come from divorced families, or we've suffered insults and injuries, teasing, bullying, abuse. That stuff stays in the nervous system until it meets empathy.
So are you saying you can use tapping to stop this, like you've just said there in the example of, you're still thinking about what if, even though it never happened in the first place, you're still sort of like going down that road in your mind. What would you say to someone listening that maybe does this sort of thing? What advice would you give them?
Well, I used to be a chronic worrier, and I would imagine, 70 different horrible scenarios to the thing that actually was working out just fine. And I would say, first of all, you can just try this while you're listening. Just take one hand, either hand, and just tap a circle in the front of your chest. You've got all these meridian points there. And you would just take a deep breath and say, even though I'm a worrier, I'm open to loving and accepting myself. And then you just take a deep breath and a big sigh. Do this with me for a second, ladies. If you find yourself worrying, just tap your chest and say, even though I'm a worrier, I love and accept myself.
Because that's what it's about, isn't it? It's about acceptance. And the reason these things go wrong in people's bodies is because they can't accept, and they have sometimes guilt or shame, which is the worst thing you can do. So it is about coming to terms with and accepting who you are and loving yourself for that.
It's true, and I also noticed, particularly in England, and I just moved back from London, I was there for 2.5 years, and I noticed in different countries there's certain archetypes that are more prevalent in different societies. And in England, it seemed like the "what will they think of me" was huge. And the fear of being embarrassed, or someone actually noticing that you're having anything other than a perfect day, is very, very intense for people. And so there's a lot of repression just because we don't want people to see that we're having feelings. So when we can admit those feelings, at least to ourselves, and that's the beauty of this World Tapping Circle. You can do it from home privately. You don't have to go out and expose yourself and admit it to anyone else but yourself. But as you do, those feelings will come out as soon as they meet your own loving acceptance.
What makes tapping different to other kind of healing therapies?
First of all, it's a self-healing modality, and yes, you can do it with someone who's guiding you. We all need a little bit of guidance at first, but it's something that you can, say you're having a panic attack in the middle of the night, your brain wakes you up with all the things you're supposed to have done yesterday and you didn't, and your heart's racing, you're upset inside, and you can't go back to sleep. You can, instead of calling a therapist or waiting for an appointment or taking a drug, you can actually just tap on your chest and these meridian points, breathe for a few seconds, and accept the state that you're in, and take it right back to neutral.
So this is something that you can do even if you haven't been trained, you haven't got a workshop. Do you know what I mean? You can literally just do this at home.
Yeah, you can do this at home, and I would love, I don't know how long we have to talk today, but I'd love to give you, 5 minutes of tapping just for your listeners to actually experiment with it.
We can do it now, yeah.
Why not? Let's do it now, yeah.
Why not?
Okay, because I can talk about it and tell you how great it is, but really, if you experience it, you'll go, oh my goodness, okay, I got something instant out of that. So, I just want to give you guys a heads up. That's English Americanese for warning.
Okay.
That you might find yourself yawning, laughing, your energy flushing through your body. You might find strange little pains moving around your body. You might feel suddenly sleepy or suddenly very energized or having memories flash, because what we're doing is we've got a fast forward button for stored stress in the nervous system. And so, you know, if in Star Wars, when they say, like, fasten your seatbelts, we're doing warp speed, and they go boom, across the other side of the universe like that, you're going to go really quickly through something that you could have probably complained about for a week. Right? And
You
over and over. The same boring story until you got some empathy and relief. But we can do this in just a couple of minutes and you'll be done.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm just going to talk you through the points. People driving, maybe you can tap and drive with one hand. This is a great thing to do while you're in traffic. So find the front of your chest, and dropping down from the collarbones, I want you to feel around until you find sort of a tender area in the front of your chest. It's going to be a little more sore than the rest of the tissue, somewhere in your lymph system, kind of in your upper pectoral region, and just press around and give yourself a deep breath and a big sigh. And it's important to really open your jaw and let that sigh come out, because energy comes out of your mouth and your breath and travels on sound as well. That's why we sigh when we're stressed, because these are automatic points that you naturally touch when you're stressed, and now we're just going to do it consciously. So massaging the point in the chest, big deep breath, big sigh. Good. And now you're just going to pick an issue, something that irritates you. It doesn't have to be your largest trauma of the whole universe, but something that bothers you today.
Okay.
Okay? And I want you just to evaluate for a second. How intensely does it really bother you if you were to let yourself really think about it? From 0 to 10, 10 is maximum.
I'm thinking 10.
Yeah. Okay, good. All right, so just let me know, what number of intensity is that for each of you?
Yeah, a 10 for me.
10
love.
as well, yeah.
10, okay. This will be a great test drive then. Okay, so massaging the points in your chest, and I want you just to say, even though I feel this way.
Even though I feel this way.
And I have this issue, and it really bothers me.
And I have this issue, and it really bothers me.
I'm open to loving and accepting myself.
I'm open to loving and accepting myself.
Big breath, big sigh. Good. Now take your fingers and tap the beginning of your eyebrow, just where it starts to get fuzzy. Say it's not your third eye in the middle of your forehead, it's just on the eyebrows. You can tap one side or both sides if you have two hands free. Big breath, gently tapping with 2 or 3 fingers. This issue. Just say, yeah.
This issue.
Good. And think about your issue. Big breath, big sigh. Now slide down your eyebrows to the edge of your eye socket right on your temples, and tapping and say, I'm open to loving and accepting myself.
I'm open to loving and accepting myself.
Even though I feel really stressed about this.
Even though I feel really stressed about this.
Big breath, think about that stressful feeling. Big sigh. Tap the cheekbones, front of the cheekbones where your cheeks protrude the most in front. It would be directly under your pupils if you were looking forward, in the apple of your cheek. Big breath, tapping. And what we're doing is we're stimulating the different organs in the body. For example, this is a stomach meridian. So if you hold your stress in your stomach, it's going to start coming out of the wire that connects down to your stomach. Tap under your nose. I feel really what? What feeling is really present for you about your issue? Do you feel angry?
Frustrations.
Anger.
Frustrated.
Anger.
Anger and frustration. Good. I'm tuning into you, aren't I? Now you're tapping under your nose and above your upper lip on that little divot there. And just say, I feel angry and frustrated.
I feel angry and frustrated. I've never said that with a smile on my face before.
Okay. Say it 4 or 5 times over and over. I feel angry and frustrated.
I'm angry and frustrated.
Frustrated.
I feel angry and frustrated. I feel angry and frustrated. I feel angry and frustrated.
One more time.
I feel angry and frustrated.
Good. Tap under the lips, on the chin. Big breath, big sigh. Make some noise, ladies. And tap down to the chest. Nice big circle. Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Great. Nice big circle. Nice relaxed hand. Tapping around the chest. This anger and frustration.
This anger and frustration.
I'm so used to feeling this way about this.
I'm so used to feeling this way about this.
It's been happening again and again.
It's been happening again and again.
Big breath, big sigh. So now I want you to tune in and see what level of emotion is still there for you. Do you still feel like it's a 10?
No.
Really?
It's more like a 5 now.
For me it's 2.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I need to
Look how
continue.
quick that is. We've only tapped like 4 points, and your big, huge issue is now really small. So let's see if we can take it even further down.
Okay.
So now I want you to find the bottom of your rib cage. You just put your hands on your ribs, and you can feel where they jut out the most in the front. There's a little hilltop there. You want to tap on the last couple of ribs where they stick out the most. And sometimes this point is really tender for people because this is where it's a liver gallbladder point, and people internalize their anger to protect the people around them.
It's a bit painful. Ooh.
Is it painful?
Yeah.
Isn't that where
It means
fear is
you're-
kept?
It means you're a very nice person.
The left-hand side. The one.
Okay. So that probably tells me that you try to repress anger in relationships and that you don't want people to see you upset.
I've done that many times in the past, but I would never do it now. But maybe it's storage from then. You just never know.
Yeah. So what we want to do is find a new way to release that anger where you're not lashing out and you're not internalizing it, which is actually you're just processing it. So it actually moves through, it gets acknowledged, and it leaves your body without harming you or anyone else.
Okay.
So tap the front of the ribs and just say, this anger,
This anger.
this anger.
This
This
anger.
anger.
One more time, big breath, this anger.
This anger.
Big deep breath. Tap the side of the ribs. Now, I'm going to ask you to think about, side of the ribs. Let me explain that point. So if you go from nipple height to the side seam of your body, under your arm, a couple of inches down from the armpit, tapping that point, and it also might be sore because it's also a liver gallbladder point.
Yeah, mine's hurting. Both sides.
I'm struggling to do it. Oh yeah, it's a bit tender actually.
So when it's tender, it means the energy's been stagnant in that meridian for too long. And when energy is stagnant for a really long time, it creates such discomfort that dis-ease, meaning lack of ease, is created, and that's also usually at the bottom of illnesses and diseases. So this is a really great thing to do as a preventative to keep your energy flowing, the electricity flowing, because your cells function on electricity. And this will keep the electrical current flowing, and then your cells have enough energy to regenerate and release waste, etc. So just tapping under the arm and just saying, I'm open to releasing this anger.
I'm open to releasing this
I'm
anger.
open to releasing this anger.
And any blame.
And in blame.
And in blame.
Big breath, big sigh. Good. Now we're going to do one more point. Inside of the wrist. So put your fingers across the inner edge of your wrist and move your hand back and forth. And you feel that little bone that pops up and down?
Yep.
On the side of your wrist. I want you to tap the inside of your wrist on that little bone. This is a heart point. Okay, so usually when we feel angry and frustrated, we turn around and we look for whose fault it is.
Very true.
And usually we find someone to blame. Generally it's ourselves, but often we'll project it outward onto whatever the perceived trigger was. That could be. Yeah?
Yeah.
And Is that really helpful?
No, it's not helpful at all, is it really?
It's not fair on the other
No.
person as well.
It doesn't actually improve the situation. It just makes more people upset, and it doesn't actually lead to resolution very quickly. Often it slows down resolution.
Yeah. This is the opposite, actually.
Isn't it usually
Right.
that it's not the other person, it's actually you with the insecurity, and that's what is affecting you, than opposed to the other
Right.
person.
But we want to blame the trigger. Kill the trigger, and then I won't feel insecure, right?
Yeah, it's very true.
Okay.
Yeah, when we've had arguments, we blame the other person, but we don't actually see it's ourselves.
It's true what you're saying, actually, Gurds, because we are all reflections of each other. So often when you get annoyed or displeased with something about someone, it's usually because you recognise it, because you possess that quality as well. You have done at some point. So yeah,
Right.
yeah. That's what they're saying. That's what they're
Either
saying.
that, or it reminds you of someone who used to do that same thing to you in the past,
Oh, gosh,
and you feel defensive because it reminds you of your mother or your father or someone at school.
Past experience.
Okay. So tap the inner point on the wrist and say, even though I blame.
Even though I blame.
Now you girls get to keep your privacy here, but I want you to think about who you blame and breathe. Big sigh. I blame, and then think it again.
I blame.
Good. And you guys at home, you listeners at home, think about who you're blaming. You can say it out loud if you have privacy. Now I want you to put your hand in front of you like you're going to karate chop something. Excuse me, I have to get a little sip of water here. Okay. And I want you to tap the upper edge of your thumb on the side of your thumbnail. So if you were going to karate chop in front of you, you see the top edge of your thumb there? And tap that point on your thumb. Big breath, big sigh. I blame, and say it again.
I blame.
And think about that person and feel the intense desire to blame yourself or whoever that, it could be a whole list of people. God, the world, society, my car, my ex, my wife.
Anyone.
Everyone else but everything. Okay. Big breath. Tap your index finger in the same place, top edge of your index finger at the side of your fingernail. Tune into that feeling of blame and see if it's still there. And as I was just saying, this is the triple warmer. It controls your physical thermostat, the how warm or cold it feels to you, and your relationship to self and perceived other, meaning self in the radio show, self and the whole of UK, self and the person in your life. Okay, so I'm releasing.
Sorry, can you do this on the right or left? Like, does it matter? Do you have to do it on a specific side or?
It doesn't matter, and I suggest that you alternate as we go through different rounds, meaning going through all of the points. And believe it or not, we haven't even done one full round of tapping yet.
Wow.
And a round is accessing all 12 of these points. And we're almost done. But your issue is already coming down before you even complete one round. So just going back to this forgiveness thing for a second. So just for fun, let's send another wave of forgiveness to yourself and to everyone involved in this issue, just to see what happens, even if it's undeserved. Good. Tap your little finger on the inside, again, back to the original side, presenting edge of your pinky finger right at the side of your fingernail, and say, I'm open to the possibility.
I'm open to the possibility
Of forgiving myself and everyone involved.
of forgiving myself and everyone involved.
Big breath, big sigh. Tap the side of the hand. Even if they haven't begged for my forgiveness yet.
Even if they haven't begged for my forgiveness yet.
Even if I'm trying to teach someone a lesson.
Even if I'm trying to teach someone a lesson.
By withholding love or forgiveness.
By withholding love and forgiveness.
And staying angry and upset.
And staying angry and upset.
Big breath, big sigh. Now tune into your issue again and see what number you would give it, your original issue.
0.
It's about 2.
Mine's 0.
You're amazing, ladies. Tap the top of your head in a big circle and the sides of your head and the back of your head and say, I'm allowing myself to feel. And what would you prefer to feel besides angry and frustrated?
Love and compassion.
Yeah. Love and
I'm
compassion.
open to feeling love and compassion.
What, you want us to say that?
Yes, ma'am.
I am open to feeling love and compassion.
Especially towards myself.
Especially towards myself.
And everyone involved in this old issue.
And everyone involved in this old issue.
Now just tap all over your body, wherever feels good, and give yourself some loving, encouraging words. Now this is going to feel awkward because most of us are used to saying kind of hateful, ugly, mean things to ourselves, which is absolutely useless. And now we're going to learn to speak nicely and kindly to ourselves, the same way you would encourage a child that you wanted to succeed. So tapping all over your body and just say, well done you.
Well done you.
Well done, you.
Well done, Jess. You did very well.
Been good today, good.
Good.
Tap on the back.
Yeah, exactly, there you go. So now you have an experience of how to use tapping.
Wow.
Thank you so much. That was
Amazing.
lovely.
I feel so refreshed. and
Yeah,
clear
I
of-
definitely recommend people trying this. I mean, it is fantastic. I mean, what you've just done there in 10, 15 minutes, you know, that can take a long time to get over stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? When it's a high and score 10 problem that you might have, it can take a long time to come to terms with that. So, yeah, I mean, it's brilliant. It's amazing.
I can definitely relate to not self-loving myself when I was younger. I feel that a lot of the time, I, like myself personally, I was giving too much love to everyone else, but I didn't believe that I deserved to be loved.
Do you think do you think this problem comes from society? I mean, do you believe that we live in a society that has a problem or is lacking self-love?
Absolutely. And I would say that I've taught all over the world, Germany, France, all over America, Italy, England, and I see the same issue everywhere. There's a huge feeling of not being good enough.
Do you think that stems from like family issues? So, for example, if your mum wasn't loved, then she thinks that you don't deserve to be loved, and then when you have your child, then you kind of feed them the same kind of issue. So it's kind of very generational kind of issues.
It is generational, and what we're dealing with is inherited emotional abuse. And it's become so normal that it's not even recognized as an issue. You know, for example, taking the piss, right?
Yeah.
Such a cruel thing. And children do it to each other, and families do it to each other, and it creates such a lack of trust. It puts calluses on our hearts between each other, and we never know, really, is someone serious? Are they joking? We usually will make up the lowest, meanest thing in case it's true.
Yeah.
And to sort of use that to attack ourselves. So it's always sort of keeping us in our place. But if we want to change this world, we've got to feel worthy of love. We've got to feel like we deserve to have good lives. We've got to feel like we're worthy of respect and take our power back, not from each other, but from ourselves, where we say, you know what, I am a good person. And it's okay that I'm learning. And it's okay that I had to learn that way. And I forgive myself, and I'm moving myself forward. And I want to create this beautiful world. And actually, I'm willing to believe in myself. And when you give yourself that kind of energy, and you tap out the contradictory energy, suddenly you find that you're filled with vitality, you're filled with inspiration, that people respond to you differently because you're not sending out an energetic mixed message that says, oh, I want you to love me because I hate myself, and if you love me enough, that'll make up for it. Right?
How do we change this, what's happened right around the world? I mean, where does this change come from? I mean, how do you see things panning out with this, you know, the fact that the whole world is having trouble giving themselves love?
Well, Well, my answer is to create an unlimited platform so I can show up in your house or your pocket phone. Give
Brilliant.
a session to teach you what they should have taught us in kindergarten, and they really should have taught us at home, which is how to love and accept ourselves.
That's
Tell ourselves that we're still good kids, even though we embarrassed ourselves or we fell down, or that we didn't get a good grade in our school. So you have to go back and take care of that little child, because that little child is still running the adult.
I guess being like a parent as well, that you spend so much time giving the love to your child, but then you forget about loving yourself in the process.
It's so true.
And then
it's true, and I really want to reach out to parents, because not only will your kids believe what you tell them, but they'll believe what you tell yourself. Your kids are watching you and wanting to learn how to be an adult, and that you are their role model. So if you say, oh, you're so wonderful and great and I love you so much, and they see you laughing derogatorily about yourself, attacking yourself, or pushing off compliments. Someone says, oh, you look so beautiful. You're like, oh, no, thanks. You look great.
Yeah, exactly. And this is the thing, it's like people don't give each other compliments anymore. And do you know what it is? I think even on that level, just to pay people compliments, right, it makes them feel good, it makes you feel nice, and it's a nice habit to get into, man. Let's face it, that should be family members, friends, even strangers. Like, I'll give a stranger a compliment, like, I'm not do you know what I mean? It's nice to get into that sort of thing and make people stop feeling good about themselves, whether it's your child or your mate.
I think the problem is
it's really nice to give compliments, but I'll tell you what, when your compliment's not received, it hurts.
Yeah.
yes.
So what I'd like to do right now for you, because this is so big, if you want the world to be more loving, not only do you need to give more love, but you need to learn to receive more love.
That's it.
Because it's like a bunch of people walking around with birthday presents for each other, and no one feels worthy enough to open them. And so you just sort of shove it back at the giver, saying, oh, no, 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 and you bounce it back. So just for a second, just tap your chest and say, even though it's hard for me to receive a compliment, and especially you listeners do this, because I noticed that there's a bounce back, especially in England, where it's almost rude to think so well of yourself that you could actually receive someone's compliment.
It's very true.
So just tap your chest and say, even though it makes me uncomfortable.
Even though it makes me uncomfortable.
To deeply receive someone's compliment.
To deeply receive someone's compliment.
I feel embarrassed and I don't know what to say.
Feel embarrassed and I don't know what to say.
Okay. I love and respect myself.
I love and respect myself.
Tap your eyebrows. It's hard to receive a compliment.
It's hard to receive a compliment.
And tap your temples. And I just want to say that the reason why we're speaking the negative, it's not going to drive it deeper. We're actually finding the information file in your brain and taking empathy right to where those negative thoughts and feelings live. Okay? So tap your temples and say, I can't receive compliments.
I can't receive compliments.
Tap your cheekbones. I feel embarrassed and awkward.
I feel embarrassed and awkward.
Tap into the nose. I'm worthy of love.
I'm worthy of love.
Big breath, big sigh. Tap under the lips. It's safe for me to receive more love.
It's safe for me to receive more love.
Even if it feels embarrassing and awkward at first.
Even if it feels embarrassing and awkward at first.
Tap your chest in a big circle. This embarrassing, awkward feeling.
This embarrassing, awkward feeling.
So I want you to tune in and see if you can remember the feeling when someone gives you a really beautiful compliment. You feel that sort of like withdrawal to the back of your body, kind of holding your breath. Where you your eyes just sort of glaze over and you might leave your body a little bit.
Yeah.
It used to happen to me all the time after I would do presentations, and people would come up to me and I would sort of leave my body there smiling, but I'd be on the back side of the wall going, oh! Okay, but we want to be able to actually receive that love. So tap a little further down, because that love is meant to nourish us. I'm allowing this love to nourish me.
I'm allowing this love to nourish me.
Tap the front of your rib cage. I'm allowing this love to nourish me.
I'm allowing this love to nourish me.
Tap the sides of your rib. Give a big deep breath, big sigh. Good. Tap the inside of your wrist on that little wrist bone again. I'm allowing compliments to deeply nourish me.
I'm allowing compliments to deeply nourish me.
Good. Big breath, big sigh. Tap the side of the thumb. Even though I'm afraid they'll think I'm egotistical if I let it in.
Even though I'm afraid they'll think I'm egotistical if I let it in.
I love and accept myself.
I love and accept myself.
Big breath, big sigh. Tap the index finger. It's humbling to let their love touch me.
It's humbling to let their love touch me.
Tap your middle finger. It's humbling to let their love touch me.
It's humbling to let their love touch me.
Tap the bottom of the fourth finger. I'm willing to get better at receiving love.
I'm willing to get better at receiving love.
Because I want there to be more love shared in this world.
Because I want there to be more love shared in this world.
Tap the inside edge of your little finger. We are all worthy of love.
We are all worthy of love.
So let me ask you this. Have you ever seen a baby that wasn't worthy of love?
Never.
You ever seen a human that wasn't a baby first?
Exactly.
Yeah, true.
Tap the side of your hand. I'm open to facilitating the flow of love.
I'm open to facilitating the flow of love.
And the side of the hand point is the side of the hand where you would karate chop something, the bottom edge of your hand. Okay? I'm releasing my fear of compliments.
I'm releasing my fear of compliments.
I choose to facilitate the flow of love.
I choose to facilitate the flow of love.
I'm getting better at receiving love.
I'm getting better at receiving love.
Tap the top of your head in a big circle, including my own love.
Including my own love.
Including others' love.
Including others' love.
I'm allowing myself to receive love so I have more love to give.
I'm allowing myself to receive love so I have more love to give.
So tapping, and just think about that for a second. If you're all output and there's no input, is it going to work?
No.
Right, and this is what Gurds was saying, that I gave and gave and gave, but I didn't give to myself.
Yeah.
Right, and somehow we think that that's some sort of a noble suffering, but really it's just depleting.
It's like, you know, when you get on an aeroplane and they say to you, you've got to put your life jacket on before anyone else's. It's a bit like that in life, isn't it? You have to make sure that you're in a good place before you try to take on other people's problems or anything like that, you know?
Exactly. So if you really want the world to be a better place, learn how to receive love. And here's an exercise I'm going to leave you with. Next time someone gives you a compliment, instead of immediately rushing to compliment them back or brushing it off like, oh, no, I want you to stop and look into their eyes for an uncomfortable 2 seconds.
Totally got this.
And take a deep breath and actually let it in. So if you two ladies could just practice with me for a second, turn around and look at each other.
This isn't awkward at all. We're awkward together.
That's
Good.
What we got to say?
And now I want you to say, as you look at each other, and you might tap on your chest to make this easier, and to say, I receive your love.
I receive your love.
Breathe. And feel that awkwardness. This is where we're at, right? So tap your chest, I receive your love.
She's blushing.
It's so beautiful. It's so natural. And it's so awkward. We wanted to change that.
Yeah.
So tap your chest and say, I receive your love.
I receive your love.
Even though this feels awkward.
Even though this feels really awkward.
I'm allowing it to feel natural.
I'm allowing it to feel natural.
I'm here to facilitate the flow of love.
I'm here to facilitate the flow of love.
I respect you for doing this.
I respect you for doing this.
Now say, I receive your love, and just take in that compliment she just gave you.
I receive your love.
Now breathe it in as if it were life-giving oxygen. I want you to breathe it in deeply and just let it land in your belly.
That's amazing, Sonya.
They need to teach this in school.
They do.
They really do, because then the kids would be a lot more different. They
exactly
would
it.
respect each other and the differences.
But this is the generations that we need to start teaching to do this sort of stuff. Do you know what I mean? Because they're the future, aren't they? People are starting to wake up to this now. I mean, the big awakening is happening. People are turning on to all this stuff, but it's the kids we need to get to, because they're the ones that are,
they're the future.
Yeah.
No, the group of people I'm most excited about, not that I don't love everyone and I'm working towards, helping people who are already much older, but I really want to reach out to the 20-somethings, the teens, the 30-somethings. They're inheriting our planet, and I teach at Burning Man every year and go and find those amazing creative beings, and I teach thousands of people tapping, and I wear these big costumes to make it fun and interesting, to go where it's dark and scary, and to make it fun and entertaining and funny and easy.
That's brilliant.
That is amazing.
That's excellent, Sonya.
Sonya, can you tell us about the school? Because I know on the website, there's a link talking about Sophia's school. Can you explain that to our listeners?
Yeah, it's actually called the Sophia School of Living Arts. It's named after wisdom. I happen to be named after the goddess of wisdom, but it's really named in her honor. It's which is information embodied and put to practical use, right? And the Sophia School of Living Arts has just started a program to teach people tapping and help them learn to love and accept and forgive themselves. And starting next Monday, you'll be able to log into either my website and go to the World Tapping Circle from my website, which is sonyasophia.us, SONYASOPHIA.us, or straight to theworldtappingcircle.com, which will both take you to the same place. And for free, for 4 weeks, you're going to be able to tap with me for 90 minutes.
Wow.
And I'll show up on video. I've got 4 other practitioners on the circle with me, so you can see others doing it too. And we have a live chat, and you'll be able to answer questions. You'll get a welcome kit that explains about tapping and a video to prep you for what tapping is and where all the points are. And I'll send you a list of questions during that call, and you'll be able to answer, where did your issue come from? How long's it been there? Where do you feel it in your body? What are your negative thoughts? What are your negative feelings? I get those statistics back, and I go, okay, so we've got 75 people, or we've got 200 people on this circle today, and there's a lot of anger, there's sadness, there's fear, there's guilt, and a lot of people feeling like they're too much. And so we'll tap on those things.
It's amazing, Sonya. I mean, that's brilliant that you're doing it for free in a 90-minute session as well. That's fantastic. I'll definitely spread the word about that for you, actually.
Yeah, we'll have to definitely join it as well.
Yeah, we'll join it. So did you say this is a specific date for this?
Yes, it starts May 19th and it goes to June 9th, and it's a free month of healing. You don't have to give us credit card information, none of that. If you like it afterwards, we'll send you an email and say, great, you want to sign up. And it's under £20 a month to do this with me.
That's brilliant. Guys, I seriously recommend that you do this. Like I said, I've seen Sonya in action. We've just experienced it again for the second time, myself and Gurds. Get onto our website, check it out, get involved, because, this is really, really powerful stuff. I can't reiterate it enough to you how good this is to do this.
If you want to change your life, I would definitely recommend this, because we all have past issues that we subconsciously have there and we don't really fix it. So if you're trying to find an alternative way where you don't want to take medicines or anything else and you want to naturally heal yourself, definitely join Sonya.
Exactly. The thing is as well, it's because, like, I've said this before, like, we are a 3-in-1 being. We have a mind, we have a body, we have a soul. People will go to the gym and train the body. People will, read, train the minds, positive stuff, but we neglect this energetic side of us, and it's really time now to start getting our souls happy. It is.
It's true, and what I want to say is that the emotional body is what's most neglected. It's the place people are most terrified of. And I want to take them and teach them emotional hygiene.
Good, yeah, good.
So that your emotional body is your interface between your physical reality and your spirit. So when your emotional body is clean and clear, your spirit can finish downloading, and your soul will really animate your body and give you vitality and make your eyes shine and take you on your path so that you can accomplish your true purpose. And you're filled with passion and inspiration and the desire to, even though it may be difficult, to keep moving forward, and then you become a living blessing and an inspiration to others, just like these two beautiful women.
Bless you.
I really respect you for doing what it takes to change the world, and I'm here to help support world changers.
Yeah, man, it's definitely, do you know what it is? We rise by lifting each other. We all have to come together, and that's why it's brilliant, like, you know, shows and radio stations like UK Health Radio and the UK Natural Health Show exist. It's brilliant because it's bringing people like you, and it's spreading this message. And again, this is why I do Gathering of Minds. You know, we had you on there, we bring people, we share the knowledge, and this is what the world needs. Because the thing is, unfortunately, we are pumped so much negativity through the TV and media. We can't rely on it as a reliable source of information. You know, we're not being taught these type of things, Sonia, which I truly believe is so vital to our human survival, because we are on the knife edge right now as a society in this world. This balance can tip either way, and I urge people to really start you know, like, investing in themselves, in the spiritual and the energetic side, as well as the mind and the body as well.
Life is too short to be doing things that you're not happy as well. So you should tap into yourself and then find what your true purpose is in life. Because if you don't, you're going to end up living a life that's not worth living. It's a waste of time.
It's true.
Yeah, exactly.
And, you know, we each have an important piece to bring, and the thing that limits us the most is our insecurities and our fears. And so what I want to help you do is release those insecurities and those fears and those the fear of failure and even the fear of success, so that you can actually just pop back into your natural position and move all of us forward with your creativity and your vision and your love. And I just want you to know that you're worthy and you're blessed and you're loved, and the reason you're on this earth right now is because you actually have something significant to contribute.
Yeah. Everybody has a talent. I think a lot of people don't realise that when we're born into this world, that we all each have a talent.
Exactly.
And we're supposed to share it, but we don't.
I think there's just so much pressure, right, on people to know what they're going to do by the time they're 18 and all this. Do you know what I say to people, right? And I posted this on my Facebook earlier on, right? Daydream. Why do people say stop daydreaming? Daydreaming is the best thing you can do, because you will come up with ideas. You'll come up with ideas. So people daydream and just see what it is that you want to do. And don't take a risk. Take risks.
Don't be afraid of change as well.
Aye, that's definitely
And you know that something else that tapping, a side effect of clearing out the emotional debris, is that you get what I call divine downloads.
Yes.
You will get information straight from source, straight from your own soul about your path, your destiny. You'll start to get much more intuitive, much more psychically capable, much more telepathic with the friends and the loved ones, and really in resonance with yourself, because really that's who you are underneath the fear.
Sonya, can you explain what divine downloads is for any of our listeners who don't know what it is?
It's basically what happens when you're in a state of peace inside. Maybe it happens right before you go to sleep or first thing in the morning or when you're walking in nature, but especially after you've been tapping, you get really clear, and suddenly it's these bursts of inspiration and revelation where you're getting, it's sort of like the voice of the universe is starting to say, hey, sweetie, this is what I want you to do next. And let me give you this insight and this information. This is your next step on your path.
Wow. It's
Exactly.
inspirational.
Yeah, it's very inspirational. It's amazing. It's amazing. So, where is your school based? I mean, can we go there?
So the school is internet based right now, and school just opened with Let's Learn to Tap in the World Tapping Circle. Then the school is portable in the sense that I'm teaching at different festivals all over the world. I'm teaching at something called Archaic Revival here in Texas in June. It's a drug-free festival event, which may sound strange, but it's really fun to party on sacred activities and yoga and ecstatic dance and tribal. It's like neo-tribalism. I've been teaching at a place called Buddha Fields that happens in England. Burning Man.
Can you explain what that is?
Yeah, Butterfield sounds very interesting, actually.
Butterfields, it's one of your best festivals. It's been going on for 25 years. It happens in the spring. You should look it up. I'm not sure of the dates right now. But Buddha Fields, several thousand people gather. There's teepees and yurts and sweat lodges. I did my first naked tapping circle there. And
How did that pan out?
The English are repressed, but they're not, So they're very free when they get the chance.
I don't even want to know where you had them tapping. But,
it was funny, And I was talking about, even though I feel exposed and vulnerable, and everybody's, just fresh out of the sauna, laying in the sun. Lost Horizons Sauna is the place that's been hosting me, and you pay £5 and you can soak and steam and lay in the sun and sit by the fire naked with your friends. And I happened to do a workshop there, so.
Sounds amazing.
It sounds like it was made for me, this festival. I must check it out, actually.
Yeah, Buddha Fields. It's really sweet, and it's family friendly. So there's kids running around and drums and dancing and costumes, and you guys have some of the most beautiful festival clothes too. I always get compliments on the stuff I bought from Buddha Fields in England.
Wow. We'll have to check it out. Fantastic.
Great. Sonia, also I wanted to ask, I know on your website there's some CDs that people can buy. Can you explain what they are?
Oh yeah, that's true. There's a store that you can download audio CDs. I have made those CDs because people are like, wow, I really need a session for relationships. So I put together a MP3 of me giving you what I call a one-sided session, where it's me telling you where to tap and giving you some cues, and you're filling in the blanks with who you're thinking about and how you're feeling. And you can use that audio file over and over for, let's say, tapping on a sexual relationship, tapping on an ex-lover, a present lover, or even a family member. Even though it does cover some sex stuff in there, you can just kind of skip that part and think about a family member. So you can use that to start healing yourself. There's one for money and prosperity, for people who are stressing and wanting to clear, and it's quite an intensive hour-and-a-half exercise of really finding where you picked up your philosophy and your beliefs around money. And most of it, that's our parents and what we saw them do and what we picked up by their behavior, what we inferred they thought about money. We clear that from the nervous system, and you'll take the glass ceiling off your ability to earn. And let's see, there's one called Thriving Now, which is really great for people who have a lot of negative self-talk going on, and they find they're hypercritical of themselves. And this is I would call it the multivitamin of tapping, where it's all these positive statements. And there's 2 versions on that CD. One that has some soft kind of alternative new age music behind it, and some without that music in case you want to put your own music or just have silence. But it's saying things like, I'm worthy of love. I'm here to recreate this world. I trust my own soul's loving guidance. Things like that. And it will basically go in and just scour out everything that contradicts that. It's very intense, but it feels really good. And I recommend that you listen to that, or a piece of that every day. Just put it on while you're doing the dishes. And also, I want to say that you can tap while you're in the shower. People say, well, where do you have the time to tap? You are going to be touching your body with soap and scrubbing your hair, and you might as well tap while you're in the bath or in the shower. You can drum your fingers on the steering wheel if you're stuck in traffic, and that will vibrate those finger points. And you don't have to do the tapping correctly for it to work. You can skip around on those points.
Oh, wow, that's good to know.
You don't have to do it in a certain sequence. Your body doesn't really care which meridian gets stimulated first, or even if all of them get stimulated, because they're all connected to each other.
That's good to know, actually.
Yeah.
That just answered a question that I was going to ask you.
If you want to know more about tapping, I have all the points mapped out on my website. I have the history of of EFT and tapping. On my website, I have tapping scripts that I've written for different things, like I doubt tapping will help me.
Is there any advice, Sonya, that you'd like to give to our listeners?
If you forget about all the tapping points and you just remember that you have a hand and a heart, I'd like you to get in the habit of tapping that precious little heart and saying, I'm worthy of love.
That's so sweet. You're so lovely,
Sweet.
Sonya.
Oh.
Do you know what? My partner's got a crush on you, I think. he wasn't feeling too well a few weeks ago, right? And he was like, oh, can you imagine if you were sick? Sonya could be like, oh, there, in a lovely accent. He wanted you to come and nurse him. He's going to be mortified I've outed him.
Thank you so much. I have all these free videos on my website of me tapping as well at different conferences, at Burning Man, at the Leaders Causing Leaders conference in LA. So tell him he can watch those videos. And
I'll let him know. Brilliant.
It's been a pleasure speaking with you, Sonya.
Yes, Sonya. I'm looking forward to having you at the next Gathering of Minds. I think it's October, we said, didn't we?
Yeah, and I'm so looking forward to being back in England with you. And thank you so much for having me on your show. It's been a total pleasure.
No problem, my
pleasure's
darling.
ours.
You take care.
Okay, thank you.
Speak soon now.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
So, wow, that was a powerful interview with Sonya, don't you think?
It was amazing, and I think it's brilliant, that she's getting out there and she's showing people these techniques. And the thing is, there's so many different coaches, right? They'll not give her the information away because they'll want to get the money before they tell the information. Sonya's brilliant. She'll go around and she'll tell people this knowledge.
Definitely when I came to the Gathering of Minds event back in October, I felt a massive transition when we did the tap-in session. I think it was only for 5 minutes or so, 5 to 10 minutes. And I remember leaving thinking, wow, I do deserve to be loved. I do need to learn self-love. And I think people, again, forget that we need to self-love ourselves before we can love anyone else. If we don't love ourselves, then that's where the insecurities come from.
Exactly, darling, this is it. But, it's great that now there is this global shift in consciousness happening because all these amazing people are coming forward because they've actually been through, a lot of tragic situations themselves, and they've come out the other side, and now they have messages for people going through the same thing. But, like I always say, no matter what you've got going on, there's a solution. And I think, this EFT is brilliant.
I think it's better than taking medicines. You don't need medicines. If you can naturally heal yourself, this is the thing that you should try. Yeah.
Well, this is the thing. And I think a lot of the times our illnesses or diseases that we get are actually just symptoms of another underlying issue, something maybe that we've manifested, because your cells remember. Your cells remember.
Again, it's tied in with self-love. If we self-loved ourselves, we probably wouldn't have those illnesses or those angers, as Sonya was saying, in your liver or in your kidneys. You wouldn't have those guilt or kind of repression feelings. It would be all gone if you loved yourself, because you would know that you deserve to be loved, that everything is going to be okay.
Exactly, that's it.
Well, that's the end of the show for this week.
Yes, we hope you've enjoyed what we've had on today.
And a huge thank you to Sonya, who is an absolute inspiration to, I think, both of us from today.
Yeah, she's amazing, man. Do check out our website. And if you've missed any previous shows, then you can find us on UK Health Radio or listen on demand at uk.healthradio.com.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Bye.
Stay happy, stay healthy, keep it real. You can follow us on Twitter at UK Natural Health, or find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Natural Health Journey.